So this car is originally Grant O'Rourke's, or Grant and Debbie ran the car back in the Ravenswood days and all over Australia, running the car in AA gas and AA, oh, might have been double B gas, Dad? Yeah, double B gas, double B AP. The car was built by Greg Ducker many moons ago, and yeah, it ran, I think it was ran like a 640 back in 2000. So the car's really quick, and that was with an iron small block, not the billet small block it's got in it now. So yeah, and then George Saparovich obviously famously owned it, and that's what everyone talks about. That's how George owned it, and he'd drive the crap off anything that he ever drove. So then Travis grabbed it, and they did a few meetings with it, but they ended up parking the car up, and then now we've got it. So we're gonna give it a fair run, and we'll see what it's made of. Well, with the other Tirana, I always wanted to run a comp class. I always wanted to run in a Group 2 class. So the other Tirana was probably, it just didn't really fit anything in Group 2, and I was going to spend like 10 grand on that thing anyway, trying to upgrade it. So we go to work every day, and me and Dad just be sitting in the car, and I'd be looking in the rule book just what class I could squeeze this thing into, and we just couldn't find a class without decubing the car a huge amount. And so then one day Dad goes, oh, what about that Oberg's car? It'd been for sale for 7 years or something at that point, and Dad had thought about grabbing it before we built his altered, and we priced the car up, the other car, and that ended up coming up around 70 grand. So I just put it up, expressions of interest, and yeah, it went crazy. We got like 10 messages off guys saying they were going to put the money in my account straight away. So then we're like, well, slowed it down a little bit, and messaged Travis and asked him if the car was still available and he still wanted to sell it, and he said yeah. So we went and had a look at it, and yeah, we ended up picking it up, and I think it's perfect for what we wanted to do. I always wanted to step up to comp, and it was really the end goal for me in racing. I've reached it pretty quick, so I'm pretty excited about that and keen to have a run this season. We picked the car up, I think it was late March that we picked the car up, and I think we figured it out. It took about like 4.5 months, 5 months to take it from that black blown zoomies out the side, big wing off the back, and then slim it down to this. Yeah, about 4.5 months, 5 months. Got rid of the clutch and Lenco and put an auto in it, which is another big thing. We had to change a few bars inside the car to fit all that in there, but that's all part of it. But yeah, about 5 months. Yeah, so that obviously it had a massive hole in it for the blower. So we started off with, obviously we had to get the engine in there and the manifold in there to see how high it all was, and then we cut down the middle to retain the width of the LCs and LJs. They have that nice nose out the front, and it has normally just has a little bulge there. So we just extended that and lifted it up, and then we just laid a piece of wood over the top of the manifold, and then we filled all the sides in, flipped it over, and fiberglassed it up. It's a pain, but had to be done. And it probably could have went a little bit higher, but it scuffs on everything under there. But no, it looks killer, so I'm happy with how it all turned out. We took a few pieces up to Dan Gregorini's at Scratch and Match to paint up the front clip and the doors and the boot lid and all that. While we had the car at Rotomotion getting wired and dynoed. And then once the car got back from there, we just painted it in the shed. So it came out pretty good. It's probably the best one. It's better than the last one, I think. But yeah, it all turned out killer. And then we had Dan come down and airbrush up the front clip, and that turned out killer. I couldn't have asked for any more on that. It turned out wicked. Yeah, so the car's got a 393 cubic inch CN small block in it with AJ heads on it. It's obviously still got the AJ blower manifold on it that we put a top hat on. Rotomotion sorted out all the fab work for doing the top hat on that, and all the intake piping and stuff like that. Todd sorted all that out for us, and it's got a 106 GDX 55 turbo on it with twin Turbo Smart 50mm wastegates. And it's also got, obviously, running the Nexus R5 ECU on it with, it's got the R5, so it's got everything. It's got the IC7 dash in it as well, so yeah, it's fully kitted with all the Haltech gear, and we're real happy to have them on board, Australian brand, and when we're dynoing the car, the custom support's unreal, so that's why we love being involved with Haltech. We had them on the last car and we couldn't fault it, so it was a no-brainer going for them again. And we got obviously a little bit further down the line, we got the all-fast 2-speed in there. That's a pretty serious bit of gear that Gonzo's hooked us up with. So it's got a billet bolt together torque converter in it from him. All made in Australia. That's all WA gear, and Gonzo's brains trust all gone into that, and Dad run Gonzo's gearboxes and converters all through his comp eliminator journey, so I'm real happy to have Gonzo back on board, and he's been a great help to us, and looking forward to getting on with it with all those guys. Well, Dad's done blowers for like 10 years, 12 years, so when we picked the car up, it was always a plan that we were going to get rid of the blower and go to a turbo thing, whether it be twins or singles. We hadn't decided yet, but we picked the car up and straight away advertised the blower, and that all went straight away virtually before we had even picked the car up. So that made our decision to get rid of the blower pretty easy, and we just love the turbo stuff, and it's a nice modern touch to an old school type of car. What the? But yeah, the 106 turbo, I think, was probably the most cost-effective way of going turbo. We could have went the twins, but I think for now it'll be a good way to keep the power down and let me and Bailey learn how to drive the car, and then maybe later on we'll go to a better single turbo or a twin setup. But I think we'll have our hands full at the moment just with the 106 on it. So it's got obviously it's got a final drive tail shaft, and then it's got a 40 spline strange rear end with Tom's billet diff center. So it's got all the heavy duty gear. It's got 16x16 weld bead locks on the back as well, and obviously a very short pair of wheelie bars, and 2 big chutes on the back as well. That's about it.